Yeah, moving on to the Big 12 championship, bringing in a longtime friend of mine, Zach Morrissey, huge Iowa State fan. Been an Iowa State fan since the 2-10 days. He's grinded through them, the Paul Rhodes era, the Dan McCarney era. Has a podcast of his own. He talks sports on Patio Cheers. Zach, welcome. Excited to have you on. Excited to talk Iowa State football.
Nate, thank you for having me on the podcast. This is more of a Big 12 preview than it is just an Iowa State hype show.
You're right.
We're here to
Fair
talk
enough.
the game in general.
Okay, let's hear what you got. Let's hear what you got to start. Give me a couple talking points on this game.
All right. So Iowa State, for those who are not following, are having the best year in program history. Very sorry history of the program. Lots been made about them. Haven't won a conference championship since 1912 when they were still in the Missouri Valley, which is not a D1 football conference in football anymore. But we were still champs, playing teams that were now are playing at the Division III level. But this team playing really well this year. Oklahoma has rattled off every single game since they lost to Iowa State early in the year. And I honestly just think it's going to come down to turnovers. It's like the simplest thing in sports to say.
Mm-hmm.
But Spencer Rattler and Oklahoma lost 2 of their first 3. The guy had, I think, 6 interceptions in the first 3 games. He's had 3 interceptions the last 6 games. You do the math. It makes sense there. And then Iowa State, their rise to where they're at in the rankings, it's come on the backs of Brock Purdy actually playing like the guy people thought he might be.
Mm-hmm.
Hasn't thrown an interception in the last 7 halves of football. 3 in the first half against Baylor. Had a 21-point deficit. And ever since then, Iowa State's been shooting up the rankings to the joke of a lot of the country. But it comes down to it.
I got a question. Do you think Brock Purdy needs to be talked about more as far as like quarterbacks entering the NFL draft and such? So
not this year.
Okay.
Not this year. I think he's done enough to talk himself off that board more than he's done to talk himself onto it.
Gotcha.
You got guys like Lawrence, Fields. You got guys like Mac Jones and Trask talking themselves onto the board. You got that guy, Trey Lance, up in North Dakota State. You got the guy from BYU. There's 6 guys right there that have played way better than our little shorty. He's got tiny hands, man. I'm telling you, he's not I like him. I ain't saying he's not going to be on a roster someday, but jeepers, I don't know if I can put him on a roster yet.
Nate, I'll start with my pick. I'm going to go off of Zach's analysis here. Give me the Cyclones. I think they're having a magical season. I think Spencer Rattler and the old Sooners are definitely heating up, and they've been heating up. But at the same time, you got to look at the Big 12 as a whole, and you got to sit there and go – people say this about Notre Dame all the time, but who is really Spencer Rattler performed tremendously against? That's what it comes down to. And I think, like I said, I'm going to ride the wave of Iowa State. I think they need this bad, and I think they're going to play for literally their entire lives this game. This is it. This is it for all Iowa State fans. They succeed with this. It's so monumental for the program. So I'm going to take the Cyclones.
Yeah, I like that pick. I'm a little bit up in the air. I might decide by the time we get to the end of this segment who I'm going to pick. Big thing for me is that since the Texas game, which Oklahoma, after losing to Iowa State names, still did not look very good against Texas. A Texas team that has shown that they're not elite like maybe we thought they were going to be. But since that game, they're winning by an average of 25 points a game. Granted, you mix in a 52-point win against Kansas in there, inflates the numbers a little bit. But, Perkins is back on the defensive line for them. I think it's a different game is what I'll say. I don't know, for those of you that are listening, watching, that haven't followed Iowa State or Oklahoma a ton this year, that game in Ames was really, really fun in October. But it was a little bit sloppy at times. Neither team, I thought, played great. Iowa State was able to capitalize on the fact that Oklahoma really couldn't cover Charlie Kohler, their tight end. He drew some pass interference calls in that game that helped move him down the field, as Zach alluded to, during a time where Brock Purdy was kind of playing himself out of the NFL draft conversation. I think the quarterback plays a difference in this one. I think whichever quarterback can make the least amount of mistakes, maybe mix in that one big play, is the winner. And let's make it a consensus. I've said it from the beginning. There's something different going on in Ames this year. I've said it since I think it was since the Oklahoma game, and just that was kind of a monkey off their back in that one. There's something different going on in Ames. I think they get it done. I think they get it done in Dallas. I think it's a good game. I think it's a high-scoring game. 42-38. Give me the Cyclones.
It's gonna be a game where, this is a test for Iowa State for sure, and they're gonna have to step up to the plate. But Zach, I have a favorite player from Iowa State, and it is David Montgomery because I'm a Chicago Bears fan, and that guy can run the football.
Love it. Gritty dude. The thing is Breece Hall has more talent than David Montgomery. Yeah. Dave Montgomery's that guy you look back on, though, and you're like, man, the Breece Hall days were good. But Dave Montgomery was our dog. Out here jump punching Baylor guys, just laying it all on the line. He's ready to go to war.
He never gets brought down on the first tackle. This dude fights every single inch. It's awesome to watch.
Yeah, fantastic.
All right, Zach, any closing thoughts for those of you that aren't believers in Iowa State? We all picked Iowa State. Why should the locals pick Iowa State this weekend?
All right. When we look at Iowa State since the Oklahoma game, the rushing game has only got better. They've rushed for 198 yards or more in every single game except the Oklahoma State game, which was also a loss. But the Oklahoma game, the first time, didn't run the ball well. Again, I said about Purdy, in the wins, 85 QBR. The losses, 42. If Brock Purdy plays well,
it's over.
Take it. We win Dallas, and guess what? We come back 11 days later. We play in the Cotton Bowl against Georgia. We get our asses whooped, just like the Notre Dame game last year. I came into a podcast about Iowa State and wore this hoodie. What an idiot. I'm telling you, Brock Purdy, less than 2 turnovers, take it to the bank, Iowa State, at least hammer the, great teams cover, good teams win. Take it to the bank in Vegas. We're all right.
What a great close.
Thank you, Zach. Appreciate you coming on, man.
Yeah, it's been
Thanks,
a pleasure,
fellas. I look forward to listening up and catching up a little bit more. Patio Cheers, Season 2, TV.
Patio Cheers, mark it down. All right, Nate.